So in your life, when you start on projects, when you put out efforts, you're going to find two facts. You're going to find two observations if you're paying attention to how your actions are affecting the world around you, or how things go as you go about doing the projects. And that's what you find is that you will accomplish a lot more and a lot less in the time in which you are working. And here's what I mean when I say that. You will accomplish a lot less than you think you will. When you're working hard at something, when you are trying to get to a place that you've never been, as far as skills go, as far as a place in a career that you've never been to, what you'll find is that typically you'll overestimate your own, like you'll underestimate how much time it will take for you to get to that place goal wise. Let's say you're trying to become a certain position at a job. Let's say that you're trying to get a certain amount of pay at a certain point in the year or in your life. Like by the age 30, I'll make this much money. What you tend to find is that the path that you have to take to get to that goal is a lot more obstacle based, or there's a lot more work involved to get to that goal than you thought there would be. It's not as easy as you think it would be, right? I mean, there's exceptions, but for the most part, this is how things operate and how I've observed things. Everything is a lot harder than you think it is. Everything is more conceptual in your brain, and you can over predict based off of that. You don't have good models. You're not a robot. You're not able to actually really do a good time scheduling for things, because the world is way too complicated. There's way too many moving parts, and you don't know what's going to happen, and you don't know everyone involved. So it's going to take you a lot more time than you think to accomplish some goals, right? So what you need to do, I mean, I'd say most goals. What you need to do is that you need to be hyper realistic when it comes to your time. You need to plan out your time. Like, you need to be optimistic, then you need to cut it in half, because like you are only so capable of achieving so many things, and it really depends on who you are, obviously, because there are some hyper productive people, but even then, they probably, like, they're driven by a neuroticism that I think that even they do not always get where they think they're going to go in the right amount of time. So you need to be super um, based, is grounded about your time spent, um, because if you're constantly over predicting your time, you're going to be very disappointed frequently that the amount of time it took you to get somewhere is longer than you thought. Again, like, the thing is that you still achieve the goals. It's just maybe instead of it taking you, like, I don't know, the amount of time you think it, instead of thinking it took 5 years, it took 10 years. And the fact that it takes 10 years makes you think that, well, you wasted so much of this projected more time in which you thought you could be in this place already, but you took too long, or you were slow, or the world just didn't pan out for you the way you thought it would. That's not a good place to be in. You really need to let yourself be um, forgiving of the fact that you're but a single actor in this world, and you're not in control of everything, and that the does not always move for you, right? It moves against you sometimes, and it moves just not towards you. There are waves that bring you up fast, but sometimes that you don't catch that break. So you need to be very honest and forgiving of the fact of where you are currently. So work simply, or work in a way that is like you're achieving little things over time. You're cutting off in an incremental, approximatory sense towards your goal. You're cutting off little pieces of the goal, and that's good enough, because frankly, everything is really hard, and it's going to take you more time than you think. And then I'm also going to say you're going to accomplish a lot more than you think you will in a short amount of time. This is also true because every single act you do, every single step you take towards something, you're achieving way more. Your effects are having way more knock-on effect in a large scale sense than you think they will. This takes the form of other people, but this also takes the form of like mental, what's the right word? Mental grasping of things. So when you start on a new skill, let's say, you are totally unfamiliar with it. New things are hard. You're not learning everything very quickly, and it's just not all collapsing in here very fast. So you'll make little steps, you'll make little achievements, and it will be really disappointing because you'll be like, well, I thought I'd be, where I thought I'd be 3 months into this skill, but I'm not, right? But over time, you actually are grabbing the heuristics around the skill to then learn the skill better. So your brain is actively working on ways to make it easier to learn it, right? It's hard at first to learn how to do chores and clean things. And over time, you will get better at the chores that are hard to just make yourself do because it becomes rote. It becomes something that you've practiced so often that it's a physical. It's physically easier for you to do because you've already acquired that learnt body movement, right? And again, this happens with people when it comes to videos or when it comes to, I guess, like popularity or a business, like, it tends to J curve. So J curve is like that, right? It little improvements over time, and then you eventually just spike. You eventually just spike. Everything in life works based off of this J curve. You're working hard. Let's say with me, I 3D print, or I'm trying to get good at 3D printing in a way that people might contract me to 3D print things for them. That'd be cool. Um, it's I'm not great at it, right? But the other day I was shown that I've gotten like 20, 25 downloads on one of my prints, this print right here. And this print took me a really long time, and I don't even think it's very good. It doesn't print right. It has like a bunch of surface modifier problems, but people are still responding to it, so it's that little kick. It's because when other people get involved in the equation, things move faster than you expect. People will, have effects. You put something out into the world, and it kind of takes on legs of its own, and it kind of moves independent of you as a different entity, right? This is seen with like my walk away video. Like it was such a I just kind of spoke, and it was actually a pretty easy video for me to make, and yet like the algorithms grabbed it and like spiked it, and everyone like and then suddenly like I had a tiny following. Um, that is what I'm describing when I'm saying that you'll accomplish way more in the time. Like success happens not at all and then all at once. That's what I'm trying to say. And what you need to be aware of is these patterns. That's how you achieve things in the world. That's how you can play this magic that exists, where you aren't, where you're able to just like tap on the fabric of reality, of other people, of yourself, even like making yourself do things. You can just tap a little bit at a time, and you can have the patience and the wisdom to know that things work out faster later, but then initially things work out slower. You just need to have that patience with yourself. And what happens is, if you do, I mean, first of all, you'll ease the process by not having it be so stressful. Um, and then you'll be able to cast, almost in a magical sense, these effects into the world. You need to be able to like understand that to some degree when it comes to life and existence, you have way less control over how the effects will happen, but you have the power to make the effects happen, right? You'll have the you are an entity with you're a being with this incredible ability to change and affect the world in a butterfly effect kind of way. Um, that's your power in this life, but you need to get understanding of this magic power that you have and everyone has, to properly cast it. So two things: be realistic with your time, and be well-intentioned and optimistic with your efforts, knowing that they all pan out and expand past you in ways that you're not in control of, and you need to be okay with that.